Evan, what's the last drug you did?
Cocaine. Oh, so I guess I don't think weed is a drug, you know? I mean, I smoke weed every single day. But I took a little key bump after my set from another comedian that was at one of our shows.
Was this at Tumbleroot?
I was trying to be nondescript, but yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And, you know, I mean, it all it did was, like, make me feel a little bit of the, like, numbness of the thing, and I, like, was like, that was boring and uneventful. Yeah. But I smoke weed every day.
Phil, what's the biggest issue facing New Mexico?
I'd say our dearth of natural resources lends us to, you know, we have some things like, you know, oil and gas. There's a fair amount of that, but in terms of something like water, if you want people to live in a, you know, have a big population in a place, you need, you know, natural resources, water that makes food, that makes living doable. So we already have issues with water management, and population just keeps growing.
Very interesting. Nick, if you could change one thing about this podcast, this show, what would it be?
I was just thinking I'll beep out the bar that I said. And that's a very little a little thing that I had in my head. Change about this pod. I would say we're just starting off, so I kind of want to see it start rolling more, but I expect it to. So
okay.
Yeah,
you're listening to Artists with Brian. I'm Brian, here with
Evan Galpert,
Phil Johnson,
Nick Pelton.
Evan, Phil, and Nick are stand-up comedians and the three founders of the Santa Fe collective, Wayward Comedy. Season 4 of Artists with Brian is brought to you by the short film Guapo. Sophia is a domineering wife, determined to protect her best friend from a dishonest fiancé. But she ruins everything. Free to stream March 31st on YouTube. Guapo, a fever dream film. Guapo. I'm going to go through you guys one at a time with 3 different questions again before we open it up. We'll start with you, Nick.
Yeah.
The most embarrassing moment for the 3 of you as a threesome.
Oh, as a threesome.
That's kind of it,
I
right
have
there.
no idea, but probably more for me personally.
For the 3 of us, boy, just maybe our living state in general.
You guys aren't roommates.
Not anymore.
Evan and I used to be roommates, and Phil spent a good amount of time there.
On the couch.
Yeah, even though you had a nice place, he was still on the couch. Shit. Oh no, I know what it is. Boom. It's when we went to that belly dancer show.
Exactly what
yeah.
Oh my God.
It was the 4th of July or something.
Yeah.
And like we were all destitute. I was out of money. And I remember this guy named Corbin, who's basically, imagine him like the goat-legged bastard guy. And he just shows up and he's like, I thought you guys might need this. And he brought like a bunch of beer. We drank all the beer. And we had tickets to go to see a belly dance show. Evan, maybe I'll let you put in your fun little detail at the gas station.
Oh, that was one of my fucking highlights of my low light reel, you know, was, we were like, well, clearly we're not drunk enough to go to this belly dance show just yet, so let's run across Cerrillos from the stage and across the train tracks to this gas station, and we'll buy some fucking tall boys real quick and slam them on the way back to the theater. And I like forgot where we were, basically. Like, I forgot that it wasn't a bar, you know, like, and I grabbed like a tall boy of like a Clamato, like I think it was a Bud Light with Clamato, you know.
Oh, God.
And paid for it, and like the guy was like, cool, rings me up, and just like while I'm right there, I crack it open and take a sip, and then I'm looking at him, and then he's looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, oh shit, oh that's right, I'm sorry, and I am running out of the fucking gas station, and then chug it before I even get across the street. I'm pretty sure, you know, like fucking feral animal.
We get in there and we make up maybe half the audience or something like that, and we're just like, I fall asleep, so I assume at one point I was snoring, and then Joseph, this terrible person we knew back then, who we've since abandoned, we don't intersect with him anymore, but he was just heckling him. He was terrible, remember? Like,
To the point where...
he'd be like, well, that's a fat one, or something like that, and you're like, you would not want to laugh because it's terrible, but you're drunk and he's saying stuff. Yeah. We were awful.
Like 15-year-old.
To the
I still
point
feel
where
bad.
somebody,
Is
like,
this an apology, maybe?
Some guy, probably one of his, because, you know, it's really just friends and family of these fucking people. Nobody wants to see this shit. So, you know, some guy's husband, some woman's husband that's, like, sitting 2 rows in front of us, like, stands up and turns around and is like, you got something to say? You guys want to, like, you want to get up there and try this or something like that? We were just like, whatever, bro. Fucking, I think we left at intermission. I don't remember that we stayed for the whole
I can't imagine we
I
wanted
sure
to.
hope we did.
Yeah. And with great apologies to our friend who we should probably not name, but who, if you happen to be listening to this, you know exactly
You
who
know
you
who you
are.
are.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, love you.
Love you. Love belly dancing. Love it all. Oh, man. That's funny. Yeah, it finally came back to me.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking too when you asked the question.
Was the event in Santa Fe?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Was it on the second
School
floor?
for the deaf.
No, it was at
okay.
the James A.
I've had an embarrassing experience at a belly dancing invite.
Maybe it's, yeah. Maybe it's more common
I
than we
think
think.
every belly dancing experience is an embarrassing experience,
Yeah,
you know,
I
even
agree.
for the ones that are on stage and the ones that have to watch it and everybody involved. You know?
Janitor, you know what I mean? Electrician.
Costume,
Everyone.
all of it.
Yeah, it's hard to really come off in a good light if you're, you know, some skeezy dudes at a belly dance
Yeah, right.
competition.
Yeah, I felt very weird. I actually left before it started.
Okay, yeah, good
Bill,
move.
what did you want to be when you grew up as a kid? As a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? That's the question.
Oh, I actually wanted to be a stand-up comedian.
Really?
Yeah, I would read, you know, joke books like front to back, memorize all the jokes. I was a big hit at like my dad's work parties, yeah, you know, I thought that's what it meant, was like, oh yeah, I have hundreds of joke books, and I still remember really a lot of mediocre jokes that I did not write.
Yeah.
There
Does
was
that help or hurt you now?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, it was good to get the practice in real young, you know, as a young kid trying to like figure out what this dirty joke is about. You know,
Right.
or you know, I've got, you know, probably a half hour of a guy walks into a bar, or you know, shows up at the pearly gates. Like, okay, and it does wear on you, but I do like having that knowledge, and when you see somebody go up and they'll tell a joke and you're like, it's not your joke.
Mm-hmm.
That's from the cab driver's joke
That's
book.
right.
I've heard it before.
Yeah. Have you
The
guys ever-
almanac,
bad.
man.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever intentionally here told a joke that he was embarrassed? I don't know, as an
I mean, I
experiment,
did
it comes effect.
I did some like
Like
Norm.
Norm
No, a joke I found on Reddit in kind of commemoration for Norm Macdonald. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Tried to make it a little shaggy dog. You know what I mean? Tell it with that just I don't know flappable.
As a tribute.
Yeah.
I've definitely told parts of jokes that weren't mine.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you'll see it, you use it for inspiration, but I do try and stay away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I've totally, even the very first time that I ever told a joke, it was basically a ripped off joke from Bill Engvall that I kind of tweaked a little bit to fit my own personal life.
Yeah.
And I have, even at the roast battles, I've totally pretty much ripped off jokes from a joke book, but I just rip off the structure of it.
Well, yeah,
and then I
yeah.
try to, like, you know, but it's
Roast
like,
is about application.
right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, right.
You
So it's
know.
a different art form almost.
Yeah. And I mean, I've only done those twice, but,
Uh-huh.
2-0, baby.
I used to Steven
That's right.
Wright setup. Or no. I used to Stephen Wright punchline on a one-liner with a different setup.
Gotcha.
I didn't tell it for like 4 or 5 weeks. I was like, can't do it. And then I just was like, well, let's try. Let's see if it feels like my joke now. But yeah, it was just like a middling joke, so that
Gotcha.
solves the problem.
Right. Sure.
Okay, now Evan, this is your question that you get to answer without anybody else's input.
We'll see about that.
Yeah.
Tell us
right.
the story of the moment Wayward Comedy was formed.
I would love to, and I will always say that the same thing that I've always said, because I felt a lot of personal responsibility when we first got started, mostly because I was doing a lot of the booking. But this has always been a fucking group effort from the very, very beginning. This has always been a collaborative from the very moment that it started. And what I remember is being in the shower, getting ready to go to one of my 2 to 10 shifts at Trader Joe's, and fucking wanting to stick a fucking fork in the light socket because I hated my fucking life.
Oh, come on, shipmate.
You know? And I knew that me and Jesse and Nick that were living together at the time, Jesse being one of the other founders who's not here right now, but he is moving to town again in like a week. He you know, I remember we tried to collaborate on writing some fucking sketches together occasionally and things, and we never really got a whole lot of traction. But we all knew that we were funny, and we all knew that we had some energy together.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember coming out of, like, putting on my shirt, coming into the living room. It was late enough in the morning that both you and Jesse were up and in the living room, or like he was in the kitchen and you were in the living room. And I said, what if we each do stand-up? What if we each just write our own 5-minute sketches? We have 2 weeks to come back here with 5 minutes worth of material. And you guys were like, yeah, sure, let's try it. And then by the time I went to work, you had been mulling it around and had gone to the Matador, and by the time I got off of work, you were at the Matador.
Okay.
And I came to meet you guys at the Matador, and you had already recruited Prox, and you had already recruited him and Simon, I think, or maybe Simon came.
Simon was there for sure.
Later.
No, he was there.
He just hangs out at the night.
Yeah, right. He's still there.
Yeah, and I mean, I was excited. I was just like, yes, this already feels like, yes, this is a good thing. This has momentum. This is working.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I remember.
You probably, yeah, sure. The point is, it all started for me when it was at the Matador. When we all
Sure.
came together, we were all drunk. You know what I mean? We had, it was,
That's
I
probably
think,
where it
7
started to
guys.
feel real
I think
for
we
you
had
guys,
7
I'm
guys,
sure,
yeah. Though I will point out, man, Evan, you certainly were the driving force, the driving engine from the beginning. I do remember that. You're the one who booked all the stuff. You were the one who did kind of push, let's do this and that. And even there was another thing. Oh yeah, you set up the LLC and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so totally acknowge that. But somehow,
I set up the open mic, but you know.
oh,
again,
okay, yeah,
it's
yeah.
fucking like but I don't know, man. I don't want to be the guy that's like, this was all my idea, and it's all because of me. Like, it's not. It wouldn't have ever happened if you guys hadn't been on board with it from the very moment that I suggested, like, let's try this. And then we came back 2 weeks later, all 8 of us in the fucking living room at the Baca House, and we each did our 5 minutes. And some of us did more. You know, I think we were all like, fuck, can we even write 5 minutes? But we all did it. And we all fucking had something. And we all clearly had an individual kind of voice. We had our own unique styles right out the gate. And
I think that's one of the major strengths of Wayward is that it is a collaborative thing, and we all bring, you know, a piece of ourselves to create the tapestry that it is.
It's worth pointing out too. So we kind of in the very beginning we had a strict rule: you had to perform if you were going to watch. You know what I mean? We were so like scared of audiences and everything like that. And it was 6 or 7 people who had not started stand-up comedy together, and so we were all kind of finding our form.
yeah, like
and
me
function.
and Jesse were the only ones that had ever tried it, I think, ever. Right?
Yeah, you did. I think 1 show, right? Didn't?
No, I mean, I had just done open mics in Dallas, and I had,
I forgot that.
I had tried a stand-up competition here in town when I was like 15, 16 at the Cowgirl. And before that, I tried a talent show audition in 5th grade.
Yeah.
And that's where I ripped
That
off
counts.
that Bill Engvall audition, Bill Engvall bit, And I
It's gonna bite you in the ass, man.
I know. He's very litigious,
What year is this all happening?
2016.
2015? Dude, we have videos from
15?
Krypton Blue in 2016. So I think we
Blue.
started.
That was
Remember going down to
pretty early.
Albuquerque? Those were some of our first trips down to Albuquerque.
Yeah.
So I think we were either very early 2016 or that was like fall, like winter of 2015.
Maybe. I don't know. I remember 2016, but it seems like I'm fuzzy.
Very well.
There-
could have been.
Yeah.
I was just looking through some of the old YouTube videos, man. And it's like Phil at Krypton Blue 2016, Nick at Krypton Blue
right.
2016. So I didn't even watch those sets, but that would be fun to look back on. And
I remember that set for sure.
That'd be
Really?
cringy.
I remember the one I did at least.
Okay.
Pet Boys, yeah.
Yeah.
This
Pet
sounds
Boys.
like a good place to put in some audio of that. Let's
Sure.
get the video.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Ooh, and then do we just cringe to the cameras?
In the background, like
Oof.
elevator.
Amateurs.
music,
We
Yeah.
are still fucking amateurs, you know. But I mean, we're doing it. We're fucking doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and we're
Okay.
we're making shows happen.
Well, maybe
and
not so amateur. You guys are booking shows.
We're semi-pro, I suppose.
Yes,
Yeah.
hey,
Semi-pro
yeah.
sounds about right.
Money in my pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a little break to play a game, as we always do on Artists with Brian. There's only gonna be one winner. 3 guests, 1 winner. If it's a tie, I break the tie. The prize today is a maybe never watched, but indeed open DVD of Place Beyond the Pines. A riveting crime thriller, one of the year's best. My favorite movie character in the entire world of cinema. Ryan Gosling here. So the name of the game is called, please don't blurt anything out, it's called Deliver a Brian One-Liner from Memory. So
Deliver a Brian one-liner from memory.
so you either can't remember it and you're automatically out, or 1 or 2 people get close and the person that has the most words right, or gets
I remember once you
biggest
said
smile.
something like, "I was born on the bow of a yacht." That's all I remember.
that's very close. I like this one.
It's the I'm white privileged enough to white privileged enough to have a boat, but white trash enough that it's parked on my lawn.
Oh, interesting. That's probably okay. I know what one you're probably thinking of. Oh, Further Away. How about you?
I'm deeply ashamed to say I cannot remember a single fucking one.
That's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
You can help break the tie then. Here's what it is. So repeat what you said, and then I'll say the joke. I think.
Okay. I was born on the bow of a yacht.
I was born in a boating accident. Right? And then you go. You say what?
I'm white privileged enough to have a boat, but white trash enough that it's parked on my lawn.
Okay. I know what you're all thinking. I look like white privilege and white trash at the same time. Like I make my Escalade payment driving Uber in my Escalade.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty good.
Who got
Like
closer?
I own a boat that sits on my
that's a good one.
lawn.
The point is,
I'm gonna
takeaway
go
is that
with
your boat material
Yeah, I need
sticks.
more.
You know what I mean? It speaks.
I'm gonna give it to Nick.
All right.
Yay!
Yay.
One of the Dalbiat's funny
I
in
think
itself.
You earned it.
I think I appreciate Ryan Gosling more than you guys anyway.
That was
Maybe not
fun.
you, Brian, but
I'm gonna run through the trilogy we did in season 1 that was talked on an episode with the previous Wayward member Ryan Lawless. Just jump in if you want to answer it. So this whole trilogy went a couple years ago before COVID. When's the last time you had sex?
it's like a week ago or something.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
A week ago, about a week ago.
Sunday.
What does the word God mean to you?
God, it's as if asking me if a glass is half empty or half full. Who cares?
If you could change one thing about this podcast, what would it be?
The guests.
Cool.
Did I accidentally answer 2 questions?
You can answer all of them.
Awesome.
Also, like a few days ago, and oh fuck, I don't remember actually. Like earlier this week, was it Monday? Yeah. God is the collective sum of. God is the sum of the collective unconscious and all of our thoughts and prayers and intentions.
Very good.
And what was the other one?
If
What would
you
I change about this podcast?
Okay.
That that game, goddammit. I want to win something.
Well, they say, like, I heard someone I admire say, you're not a good comedian unless the people that watch your sets, the other comedians, know 3 of your jokes by heart. Because that means your writing is so memorable and the jokes are so just pure.
Dude, fucking
Mean.
one-liners are hard
That's
like
an
that,
interesting
though,
one.
man.
Yeah, especially as one-liners. That's neat.
Because then, like, your brain, like, aggregates and then averages out information, right? So if you throw up one 5-minute long solid joke, chances are people will either remember that one punchline or they'll remember that whole set a lot more than if you throw up 30 fucking one-liners in a 3-minute set, and then, like, how are we supposed to remember any of those? Oh, we'll remember that we laughed, and we'll remember that it was funny, and maybe one will stick out if it was, like, you know, really relatable to that person, but fuck, like, that's hard.
And
it's fucking hard.
One-liners are interesting too, because, like, you know, I got the premise of your, you know, Venn diagram,
Oh,
white
nice.
privilege, white trash joke, but, you know, I couldn't remember a punchline.
I forgot, yeah. The pun, I forgot
I
the
might
pun of
bow
it.
out of the episode and you guys can just finish.
And our work here is done.
Yeah, perfect. This is how every conversation that involves 4 people.
Wayward Comedy,
3
shut
of us.
down podcast
Yeah,
since
that's right.
2016.
Yeah, what's the
baby.
deal? What percentage of your friends are comedians versus not? Because I have learned that it's complicated.
That's a good question.
I would say all of my friends are comics.
And that's a Wayward thing.
Yeah.
So Wayward is very much like
It's a community.
it's a
community.
community, more than a social club.
For sure.
Yeah, you're networked behind the scenes in real life situations.
Yeah.
You worked with each other, you lived with each other.
Done belly dance shows with each other.
Very good. Where should the audience go right now to hook up with Wayward? What would you be?
YouTube, waywardcomedy.com.
Oh, yeah.
We have a website. It's waywardcomedy.com.
Waywardcomedy.com.
And yeah, we are also Wayward Comedy on YouTube. You can watch, we live stream the open mic every week, which is also a kind of a fun, unique thing that we offer. It's good for the comics if you want to look back and watch your set. It's good for people that want to be there but are stuck at home. It's fun to, like, I think, just expand that community idea to the internet as a whole. So I'd love for more people to just randomly tune into that. That'd be awesome.
And the open mic's a great place to show up to as well if you're looking to, you know, meet us, get our autographs.
Wednesdays 8 p.m. at Chile Line.
That's right.
Which many of the viewers will know, but they won't know about this one that you guys are co-promoting or hosting this Saturday tonight.
Oh, that's right. The
yeah.
Witch and Tip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is that
Witch and bitch.
Witch and Bitch.
The Witch
Is
Bitch.
that going to be weekly?
No, but it might be, I don't know, monthly or bi-monthly or
I
something
see.
like that.
So
you
there'll
know?
be more stage time.
Yeah.
That's an Isabel promotion, and
Yeah,
grateful to have, you know, very grateful for that, for sure.
we've done a few there, and they're fun.
Cool scene.
Yeah, it is.
And we may be doing the game show as more of a regular thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right
That's
on our
happened
YouTube.
this week at Santa Fe Brewery.
Yeah.
It happened last week, and so the video's already up on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was successful. Santa Fe Brewing Company, first time we ever did anything there. But one of our comedians, Meg Speckscore, put together a kind of a Cast Out the Heathens game show. And so loosely the way it works is we've got 7 heathens
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day. This is and they're 7 comedians, you know, so we know they're funny, we know they can think on their feet, and then I helped co-host and she hosted, and we kind of assault them with questions where they can prove their piety, you know, that kind of thing. Like we had them confess for stuff. We made Evan confess and tell us why he's banned from Dave and Buster's. Those kind of questions.
And
Or
then
he had an answer.
Did the audience vote?
Yes.
Oh,
so we went through a couple of We went through a couple of rounds and then kicked off half. Did another round, kicked off another half, and then the 2 left had to write competing limericks. Which, boy, they were impressive.
They were good.
Both of them
Those were
really churned it out.
And in like 30 seconds, they did a great
Yeah,
job.
we did not give them much time.
Yeah.
And Meg was like, Nick, improvise. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And so, like, I was like, all right,
Confess.
you guys are done.
Confess to Father Delicious.
Yeah.
Father Delicious
You
is
were
great.
you in the final 2 with the limerick?
So I was a co-host. I co-hosted as Father Delicious.
Oh, very good.
That's right. Bouncer for the Lord.
Bouncer for the Lord. Quiet down, Lord. I
Yeah.
got this.
Hold on, Lord. This is a podcast. I'm not summoning you, Lord.
I think the Nicky Delicious character is really good, and he's been on other game shows. He lives up to his mustache.
Mm-hmm.
He's just real skeezy.
I can't pull off this mustache. The other thing that kind of hit me.
I think you rock it.
Well, thank you. The other thing that hit me was like I feel like I can improvise better as Nicky Delicious. And it's because he's kind of an asshole. And it's just like sometimes it's easy to improvise an asshole thing.
It's easy to improvise when you have a point of view.
Yes.
That's
there
the
you
one
go.
key that any improviser or any improv instructor worth their salt will fucking tell you is that you have to have a fuck. And it does. You don't even have to know what the circumstance is. You just have to pick a point of view when you walk into the fucking scene, and that will absolutely inform every decision that you fucking make and make it a lot easier.
Yeah. I guess I never think of it out loud that way, but you're totally right.
Yeah.
Since the night at the Baca House, where I guess that was the first Wayward show for all the members, what's been the biggest disappointment on this journey?
Boy.
Fucking the missed open mic at 2nd Street Rafina that happened before you were there. This was probably 2017, something like that.
That sounds about right.
Maybe mid 2016. I was working on film, but I was like working as a locations PA, and I had booked an open mic slot at 2nd Street Rafina, and it was the first time that I wasn't the one showing up and like bringing all the equipment or bringing whatever needed to happen, and like I kind of trusted that I could throw it out there to the group and people would pick up slack. And Lawless was the only one that showed up. The only one that showed up. Not even like wanted to participate or anything. He's the only one that showed up and had no idea what to do and had no idea who to talk to and had no, like setup ready. And I was in Albuquerque fucking losing my mind over the text messages because I was like, what do you mean nobody's fucking there, And then we couldn't ever book anything at 2nd Street for a long fucking time.
Well, you like that stage.
I love that fucking stage. I love that room. And I think it would be a great room for fucking stand-up.
Yeah.
Other people, some people disagree. Some people disagree because of the orientation of the tables or something. I don't know, or because it's just too.
Well, we have done at least one show there.
I feel like I remember being on that
That
stage.
worked out pretty well, yeah.
The room echo's decent. I think you would need 40, 50 plus people
Yeah.
to get like a sense that it's a show.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. It's a daunting room.
It would
But
probably
it's
be better for like an actual booked show, with like a good solid lineup of people rather than a mic.
Interesting. So since the show at the Baca House, when Wayward was formed, I guess signed, the deeds were signed. What's been the most pleasant surprise?
Man,
I think it's like pretty much selling out double headers at the Jean Cocteau. Sorry to keep stealing the first answer, but I mean everybody's probably got
that's
there.
bigger than Tumbleroot.
Yeah, I mean
Because it was the very first two, so it was a big surprise.
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh, selling out. I counted those seats. I guess they're refurbishing it, but there's only like 94 seats in there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, we sold like the
place
fact
to
that we
sell
sold like 100 tickets to the late show. I was like,
it's a lot,
holy
but-
shit, this is fucking
that was
awesome.
I think our second one, right?
It's a lot,
Yeah.
but it's achievable. It's
Yeah.
a magical little location. I hope they don't add a bunch of seats.
I just remember when we went down to whatever that Cordon Bleu place was.
Oh, man, yeah.
We had a blast. We were so
Oh,
hyped.
Krypton Blue.
Krypton Blue.
Yeah.
We had a blast. We all did fairly well, you know what I mean? And we were kind of young, fresh blood, so it was the first time we'd gone down to... That must have been our first open mic. That wasn't just us, right?
I think so.
Down there in Albuquerque. And so, kind of open, weird room. A lot of the audience was other comedians looking at their phones, that kind of stuff. But we were like fresh blood, which in a way makes it a little easy to stand out and get people's attention, get some laughs for some reason or another. So we all felt just awesome about it. That's how I remember that. And we were just jamming up on the way back home. We were just like laughing about everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was one of the...
That was a pretty good high.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Oh,
That's one of the times where we were surprised, or I was surprised with how well it went and the high that you get afterwards.
That's one of the things I like actually most about stand-up is like before a show, even if you know your jokes, you've got the flop sweats and you're
Yes.
I mean, like
That's right.
it's gonna be and then once you get it out there, even if you do mediocre, you're it just feels good.
Yeah, I realized that on Thursday I was at an open mic in Albuquerque, and the high hits you, but me before I go on stage, my heart was racing with adrenaline, and I was like, oh my god, what a shock! I didn't expect to.
Yeah.
I was like tired and sleepy, and then once I signed up, flop sweats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing how that happens.
So.
I noticed like my mic handle get in pretty good shape.
Oh yeah.
Even if I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I've done this joke 1,000 times, and it'll still get just from adrenaline.
You know, I think, yeah, and I actually learned to put the adrenaline in my feet. And so that's like, I'll keep, I mean, nothing stays still on me at all.
Right.
But if I need to mitigate, if I'm starting to do this, I put it somewhere else a little bit. I think it's like the piano trick. It's
You say put in your feet, ground your feet, stick them to the floor?
No, quite the opposite. I'm like, dance it out or whatever.
Dance
it
it
is.
out.
Yeah, just kind of move around or something like that.
Okay.
But I'm partly basing this, like, I play the piano, which means a lot of me is very spoken for if I'm going to play it and have it go nice. So my left foot will oftentimes just be like flipping its lid. I don't know if the camera probably can't see it, but it's any kind of like
limb.
errors.
Yes.
It's like a fucking, what do you call it, a diode or something like that. Sorry, it's just like any weird sparks go that way. Yeah.
That's again a tribute to like how physical you are as a person,
Yeah.
and how that contributes to your style as a comedian.
Sure,
you know?
right.
Which is really cool to see.
It's very cool to see.
Yeah.
And it's also really good advice to a new stand-up, which is a question I love to ask comedians that come on the show. Phil, what's your biggest advice to someone who's either done Wayward once or has watched it once and would like to perform?
I think right in that first set, I think everybody has one set in them, probably some good jokes that was honed over years. And then once you've done that and you performed it, writing your second set. I think that's the biggest hurdle, the most difficult thing is you write that first set, you're like, what is the deal with airplane food? And you're feeling great. And then you come to the second one and you're like, there's nothing funny.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing funny at all. And I think powering through that probably, sitting down and saying, okay, make joke is like, it's often unpleasant. I find myself like, even though I love writing jokes and I love doing stand-up, I will procrastinate and put off the writing new stuff as hard as I can. It's really pretty amusing in itself.
Miles, what advice would you give to a new comedian?
Milo says the best advice for a new comedian is to just be adorable to everybody and love everybody.
Damn.
I'd say a couple quick ones. These aren't even glamorous or interesting, but almost the most common ones at first is slow down.
Yeah.
And then, hold the mic close to your mouth. You know what I mean? So people can hear you.
Yeah.
And shoot, I was going to say another one, but I forget it now. Oh, no. Beware storytelling.
Yeah.
Storytelling feels like stand-up comedy, and if you're good, it is stand-up comedy for sure. But it is not like a party. You know what I mean? Where you told that story about Wacky Joe, where half the party knows Wacky Joe. Yeah. But I would say the one thing that I personally think and would kind of put out there is like, the audience doesn't owe you anything. If it's a show, they should probably shut their mouth. If it's like a open mic at a bar, okay, don't be assholes, don't heckle. But at the same time, like, they don't owe you jokes. Right. Or no, I'm sorry, laughs. They don't owe you laughs. And so if your set isn't working, maneuver, be aware of the audience, but to be like, come on, guys. I don't know. That seems it's a little parachute pop that can get you a laugh immediately. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of bringing things back to home base. Oh, you guys aren't laughing tonight. Everybody kind of like, well, I guess that's true. But I don't know. I think it deflates you in the end.
You do see that a lot. Like, well, I guess you guys don't like puns.
Yeah, right.
I've seen a lot of hosts that just start berating people in the audience when they're getting loud, and I fucking hate that. Like, it's not entertaining, it's not funny, it's not polite to your audience who are trying to share their time with you. Fucking earn their attention.
Yeah.
Or at least try to say it in a way that's respectful, that shows like, hey, look, I know you're having a good time, but it's also disturbing what we're trying to do. I don't know. I'm not great at it. I poke fun at them a little bit. Turn them into the joke. Get them involved. Distract them. Make them pay attention to you. You know?
Some of my favorite moments are like there's a little bit of a crowd in the corner that's not paying attention, and I go in thinking they're gonna be paying attention to me by the end.
Right.
And the times it happens, it's just like great.
So much of stand-up is just emotional manipulation.
Yeah.
You're there to manipulate the emotions of the room, and having people talking or whatever, that's part of the emotion, and so to just discount that and hey, shut up guys, I'm talking, it's not good manipulation. You have to use them to craft your piece.
I want to get back to the good advice for a starting comic, and this is something that I'm only now getting better at myself because I'm just kind of working on my impulse control in general, is fucking write down everything all the time. Just get used to having a thought and stopping what you're doing and immediately writing it down somewhere in your phone. I keep on my fucking notes in my phone. It's the easiest thing because it's with me all the time. It's got infinite fucking space. Yes, and I can categorize, and then I can keyword search for shit in my notes if I'm like, what was that bit? Where is it? That kind of thing. And then, then that whole quandary of like writing a second set is almost half solved for you because you have a backlog of material that you can go look at. Mm-hmm. And another piece of advice that I read, I think in the Comedy Bible, is like write it, but then don't look at it for like a few weeks or even like a month, but write it down and definitely get into the habit of writing shit down whenever it comes to your mind, because you're not gonna fucking remember it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're in the shower. It doesn't matter if you're in bed and you're like, oh, I'll remember it when I get up and put my fucking get up,
this
write
is
it
such
down
a good joke
right now. Totally.
This
and
is
you will
the
think
one.
that you'll be like, oh, that's so specific. I'm never gonna forget about that, and then you will. You absolutely will. And I feel like I've lost a lot of great material that way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the best advice is just to fucking get into the habit of stopping what you're doing and writing down whatever it is that you're thinking. And it doesn't even have to be the whole set. Just write down like some keywords, or write down the punchline, or write down whatever it is that's going to remember that you can come back to it later when you're like giving yourself time to sit down and write out your jokes. It's
it's a fun exercise too to go back and look at your notebook. That's has 14 premises in there that you don't remember any of them.
Right.
I also say the other half of that is it's good to sit down and write even if you don't have anything. And just put like, oh man, microphones are so shiny. What the hell? Like I'm supposed to be distracted while I'm talking. You know what I mean? Like terrible stuff that would never make it into a set. But just getting that out and flexing the muscle and stuff, that'll help you be. I mean, sometimes that'll. A page or two in, like of a notebook, not typed or anything like that. But you know what I mean? Page or two in of a notebook, all of a sudden maybe it is a little funny. Yeah. Or just later in the day or something, later that week, you'll get something out of that because you're taking time.
Right.
That's what I keep thinking of as you guys give your advice is cast a broad net for what you will write down. Because
that's a good way to put it.
It could be funnier than you think, but the number one reason is because you need to liberate yourself to like not judge whether it's good enough.
Right. But there's no consequences for writing down.
For sure. Right. Nobody else is going to read what you're writing to yourself, Like you can make it as deeply personal or as just vague or whatever else you want to do. I mean, I do like the idea of cast a broad net for sure, because then you can always come back and hone it and make it more microscopic.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And that's where you're going to get more material for sure. But you don't need to have it all right away.
Mm-hmm. Took me 3 months to do my first set. 3 months of writing.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go to the clay pot. This is a collection of fan questions. I pull them out at random.
Okay.
And we'll see what we get. If you'd like to leave a fan question, drop a YouTube comment, drop an iTunes review, DM me on Instagram, or leave a comment on Instagram at artistwithbrian with spelled out all one word. First fan question coming from at designated films on IG. In your art, what wastes the most time, but has to be done?
Drinking was what popped in my head, but that shouldn't be the answer. We'll edit that out. It's kind of, man.
So some of your best jokes are, when you've had you're hanging out with your comedy friends and you've had too much to drink and you're like, I've got it. Mm. But it does actually, probably is a detriment in the long run.
It is kind of weirdly intertwined into comedy in a way that, who knows, like the ecstasy is intertwined with dubstep or something like that. It's like, but you know what I mean? Like if your audience is it has some libations and are having a good time, they're gonna be laughing.
Like,
it's in places.
Definitely necessary.
You do it in bars, you do it in theaters, yeah. It's like not at family barbecues.
I've been trying to avoid drinking for about 2 weeks now. And fucking, I feel like it definitely helps with that whole just like presence of mind and ability to like focus and remember that I gotta write something down right now, or like, what am I gonna do with this antsy feeling? Why don't I sit down and look through my notes and fucking like work on some material, you know? And that's been good. But also, fuck man, like at that Tumbleroot show before my set, I was more nervous than I have been in probably like 10 years, you know? I was like shaking, I was nauseous, I ended up rushing, like running through that entire fucking set.
It was a great set.
You did well.
I missed material. I mean, it was a good set for sure. I got a great reaction, but I was like talking over laugh breaks that I knew were supposed to be there, and I think a lot of that was also because I wasn't drinking to fucking numb my fucking nerves. You know, I had to just sit there and feel all of it. And that was great. Like, it was actually great. And I really wish that I had been able to hone it. And it was a really nice feeling. It reminded me why I do this and why I love performing and like why that's the most exciting fucking thing, you know? But I also really wish that I had like just honed it and felt that fucking energy and that tension between me and the audience, and like put in some breaks and put in a little bit of pace. A little bit of pacing, like slower pacing into that.
Sounds brave to do a big show newly sober. Like you weren't newly sober on the mic circuit for a while.
For sure.
Should have run it by your doctor.
I've experimented being stone sober for the Wayward mic and being drunk or high, and as far as I can tell, I'm just as good. It's just that when I'm sober, I suffer a lot, and it's terrifying. And
yeah, but I mean, that's like, we have emotions, you know, like that's what we work with as performers. That's that manipulation that you're talking about. And to a degree, I would argue, if you're so numbed out from your own emotional, you know, what it is that you're bringing to the table, it makes you less good at that manipulation between you and the audience, because you're not feeling what they're giving you.
I very much agree,
Audience loves a present stand-up comedian. One who's just
present,
aware, and even if they're doing all completely canned stuff, they're just in a subtlety that I can't even describe. It's just you can see they're looking at the audience, they're with you. It's important.
Dude, fucking Chuck Parker has been crushing it since he's sober.
Oh yeah,
like he looks better, his energy is better, he's more clear with his fucking like delivery of everything.
Oh man,
he's he was one of the inspirations that I had. I was like, yeah, man, I really like him, and fucking Royal Wood Jr. Who looks he's like done the full Dave Chappelle, like he's just gotten super fucking jacked.
Good for him.
So since he's stopped drinking, but
so quit drinking. That's what wastes the most time. Interesting.
And fuck, man, honestly, social media feels like such a goddamn drain of like sitting there and you're like, I gotta like do the things, and I gotta put the pictures up, and then I gotta like tag the people, and I gotta do the fucking thing. And I just hate looking at fucking Instagram or Facebook or any of it. I wish that I could just disconnect from all of that. But that is super fucking necessary, and that's where everybody fucking sees you for the first time.
I think streamlining our YouTube process has saved many people lots of time and headaches and
post-production on the stand-up open mic.
Right.
That's just a labor.
That's bottom of the barrel post-production.
That's a labor of love right there, baby.
Next fan question. This is one I wrote once upon a time to get the pond stocked. What podcasts are you listening to right now?
I'm going to throw out, this is not technically a podcast, but it might as well be. I like those nerds at Red Letter Media, man. They just talk about movies, either current movies they love, or like random bad B movies. They dissect it and take their time. Those guys are funny.
I don't know that there are certain aspects of technology that I am a bit of a Luddite, and so like I wouldn't even know where to go to get a podcast. Like I don't listen to a podcast. You know, my phone doesn't have the battery for it. You know, it's interesting.
That is interesting. Maybe we can unpack that a little later in the show. You like podcasts, Evan?
I do like podcasts. I like to listen to talk radio a lot. I listen to the Stephanie Miller Show a lot, which is actually like a talk radio on Progressive Voices. But I also just listened to a few episodes of the It's Always Sunny podcast with Rob McElhaney and Charlie Day and Glenn Howerton, and that's some funny shit. That reminds me of us.
I was gonna say, is it
Because,
good?
like,
I saw some
it
clips
is.
of it, and I was like, I don't like this.
I don't watch it. I just listened to it. You know?
Okay.
And I listened to it like while I was cleaning the kitchen.
Sure.
And they talk about how they came about some of the old episodes that we all fucking know and
Oh,
love.
okay.
You
well,
know?
then
Like, they
I would
kind
be
of
very
go
interested to
episode
hear
by
that.
episode.
Yeah.
I think it's really fun. And
I must be getting
I just
dumb.
love those guys. So
Yeah.
Does anybody in Wayward still live together? You guys have such rapport.
Not us three. Is there anybody somehow hanging back that we're forgetting about?
I mean,
Jesse
Sam
will
moved
move in
into the
tomorrow.
house when I moved out. So the Baca House for Wayward Boys, as it was
It's okay.
affectionately dubbed at one point by our friend Toby, was like he was like, this place is like an adult orphanage for grown alcoholics, like should call it the Baca House for Wayward Boys, and so we did from then on, and that's where the name Wayward Comedy came about.
It's pretty amazing. We were like, what should we call
That's
this
beautiful.
comedy troupe? And all of us already had it.
We were already
We were like Wayward, right? We know.
Comedy, right?
Yeah, it was
totally,
there.
yeah. Fuck, where was I going? With
Sorry, I
this?
derailed you on that.
Where was the train of thought starting from? Do you remember?
What podcast are you listening to right now?
Yeah.
This one coming from @eAmazingAdventures20. Are you more inspired by your conscious or subconscious mind?
Definitely my subconscious. But I need to then bring my subconscious into my conscious mind to actually unpack shit and create material out of it. But the things that I am inspired by are the things that just kind of pop out of nowhere while I'm on my own random train of thought.
Yeah, my conscious mind is pretty uninspiring.
Yeah, for sure.
That guy
Inspiration.
needs to get a job or something. I don't know.
Inspiration comes from the subconscious, I think, and it's like one of those things where you surprise yourself, and so when you first think it, you laugh a little bit to yourself.
That's the
right?
first test. It's,
Exactly.
Does it surprise you?
But again, I throw in just like writing stuff when you have nothing. Your conscious mind needs to analyze and have fun with it, and kind of look back in a more constructive way. Not because that's going to make the next joke, but that feeds the old subconscious.
Yes.
And the conscious mind has to do most of the work.
Yeah,
Getting out of the fucking
That's
way.
so
I
true.
find the conscious mind, the first thing that I have to do with my conscious mind is say, shut the fuck up!
Well,
that's
why I
and,
will occasionally drink beer before
I mean, that doesn't always
You
help,
have no
though. It
conscious
doesn't always
mind
help me,
anymore.
at least. I mean, everybody's different,
It hurts with
like,
memory.
yeah.
I just, when I'm drunk, I'm terrified I'm going to forget a joke. So it's not worth it.
Yeah.
I let myself one beer, which is one way to keep control. But
Yeah.
but
Sure.
it's also
It's
Shouldn't be
it's an outside tool. The more that you can just have your own fucking tools that nobody can take away from you, the better it makes you as a person in general. I
Sure,
think,
right. No, absolutely. That's right. If you can do it anywhere, you know what I mean, on a block of ice, stone sober.
Yeah, or even if you can just confidence is one of those things. If you can just imbue yourself with your own confidence that nobody else can fucking take away from you. Imagine how that would feel, right? Imagine if you were just I am going to allow myself to feel like I deserve this and I'm okay what I'm bringing to the table. And even if it sounds like bullshit, even if you're then your conscious mind goes fuck are you talking about? You fucking, then it's a practice and it takes effort over and over again. But once you have that confidence and you're standing on your own 2 feet and you can say that about yourself, nobody can fucking take that away from you.
No.
I mean, they can try.
Yeah.
They can tell you can poke at it. They can be you're a fucking piece of shit. And then you can be well, that's just your opinion, man, and fucking, so, yeah, I don't know.
One of the greatest lines in cinema history.
This one coming from @Dandelions and Cottonwoods. Thank you. What is the most overrated piece of art in your opinion?
Piece of art in general? Boy.
That fucking obelisk that showed up somewhere in the desert at some point in time
yeah, the
a few
monolith.
years ago. The monolith.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, that made me think of Shia LaBeouf's work. But Holes is underrated.
Sometimes I like Shia LaBeouf.
I
I don't know.
love him. I mean, I've been a fan since Holes, and then it's like perpetually disappointing.
Oh yeah. He kind of.
I think that's called growing up and having taste.
Me or him?
You.
He made that movie Honey Boy, and it's like a movie about him, but he plays his own dad, and it's like the most Shia LaBeouf thing you could ever imagine. You know what I mean? Like.
He does have one where his neighbor's a serial killer. Disturbia. I like that.
Oh, I remember
was
that
good.
one.
It's a
Yeah.
nice little caged thriller. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
What about you? That was overrated.
Overrated art.
That's a good one.
I cannot stand like most music that they play on the radio. I think it just comes from working in a kitchen for long enough that there's always the damn and it's like AC/DC or something, and I physically cringe when I hear it. And people style their entire lives around Led Zeppelin. Ew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think it's just outdated? It's just
Uh,
old sound, like art's innovated on top of itself for enough decades.
I think that's part of it. Like if I listen to the Beatles, I'm like, this is good. I can see what they're doing, but we've made it better.
Mm-hmm.
But
Sure.
somebody has done it better by now. Sure, you invented it, but now somebody has perfected it. I think that's part of it. I think just the constant need to like have that stimulus, when maybe you don't want the stimulus. That grates on me.
I know the ones I get the most flack for. I didn't like Lost in Translation. I watched it like 2 or 3 times trying to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
It just sucked.
Yeah.
And then, do you know what? I also don't like that song by The Killers that everyone loves. The Mr. Brightside.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
What about NFTs? That's kind of
that came up on the show.
overrated pieces of art.
Yeah.
By definition.
Exactly, right.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
scientifically overrated.
Tattoo artist shouted that out, which is kind of interesting because tattoos are commercial art.
Yeah.
True.
And they're pretty non-fungible too. Like you can only have
That's
that
true.
one arm.
Every tattoo is unique.
What is fungible again? That means like
But
goes somewhere?
It's not able to be
Fudge it.
replaced by substitute good.
Can't
There's
be
no
fudged.
substitute good of equivalent value. It's just
So
like
what it really is, like I
it's
swear to
one of
God,
a kind.
it's like because there were all these different kinds of currencies coming out, like Dogecoin and Bitcoin and all this stuff, and I swear NFTs are just kind of what the inevitable end is, where every currency is its own currency. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like instead of the Doge being everything, it's like everything is its own everything. I don't know. It's all about data.
Its rating depends on how it's overrated.
Exactly.
That
right.
is the smartest thing that we've talked about. That makes me feel like, oh yeah, we are smart, or you are smart. You're definitely
Well,
smarter than
okay,
me.
it's
But
based
like
on nothing.
the fact that NFTs are really just about tracking fucking data. They're just about tracking like how many people want to fucking touch on this thing, and then what does that otherwise illuminate about the people.
Right.
You know.
But
How
weird
overrated
threads
is
are
it?
found. Yeah,
Right,
exactly. Right. People love Mr. Bean.
But we had a great idea for NF. I don't want to even talk about it because
yeah.
y'all are gonna fucking steal our idea, you
suckers.
bastards.
Let's just say
That's
something
a
else so
solid,
they, wasn't your idea? I remember your NFT idea.
Yeah.
It was an app where you could remember where you buried dead bodies.
That's right. Yeah. No, it was actually geocaching grave sites. Just
That's
telling
right.
somebody like, look, and you just have to function on the ethics that like, I'm not going to turn you in. This is why
That's
I
right.
have this business. But I have already pre-dug a grave, and I will give you the coordinates of where it is if you just need to dump a
If
body.
you need it,
somewhere.
yeah. If you need a grave.
It would be pretty cool just to do that app for like famous people that are buried around the world.
Ooh, there you
Because
go.
a lot of them would be official cemeteries, but
Sure.
there's probably
Yeah.
some interesting, especially out here.
People
Yeah.
visit Kurt Cobain's grave all the fucking time. Elvis's.
People that died in the battlefield.
Ooh, that's interesting.
You know,
too.
they might have just
Sure.
gotten buried.
Sure.
Who needs a
Call
hole?
it grave site.
Maybe tragic graves too. Like not all. Not
I say,
all
who needs a hole? You know what I mean? It's like You can call a bong a water pipe. You know what I mean? Like, just call it a hole.
Exactly. Yeah, you just be nondescript on what it is that you're offering.
Yeah.
I happen to have a hole in the ground. It happens to be 6 feet deep and about 8 feet long and 3 feet
Exactly.
wide. Like, what are you gonna do? You know?
Oh, you know, maybe you can use it for something. Who knows?
I've stashed a shovel in there.
Yeah, right. And lime.
Kind of ironic that to get the best burial, you have to be murdered. Then they really try hard to keep
Really?
you underground,
Is that right?
Yeah.
right?
I don't know.
Well,
Oh,
no,
I see what you're saying.
no,
Like, yeah, like
That's right.
you
It's
don't
like
wanna
you
be-
can't accidentally pop up
The
and you'd
holes
be
at
found.
cemeteries are like backhoes, so those are real proper and deep.
Those are pretty good,
They
you know?
seem like 8 feet deep.
That's-
And you get like grass put over it, you know. Like sure, you're never gonna come up if you get fucking concrete shoes and thrown off a fucking bridge into the ocean, sure.
No, I guess
But
that's
you
true.
know,
No, but you're making a good point. Like, if
Yeah.
you're not near the ocean, and like, obviously these
There's
grave diggers are half-assing it. I've seen
Yeah.
these guys. They're not going all the way 6 feet down. You know what I mean? Nobody's checking.
they don't have that
Who
kind of
cares?
time.
But if you want to get married, good.
Yeah.
Get someone who has a motivation to make
Yes.
sure you never come back.
A motive.
Yeah.
So, silver linings. This is the last fan question coming from @FelixViolins on Instagram. What is something you're exceptionally good at? And this would be other than comedy.
I think we should answer this for each other.
Ooh, yeah.
that's a lot of fun.
I was gonna say after this we'd improvise
Oh,
a
man.
killer close to the show, but I like this. So, you answer for Phil, Nick, and Phil. Would you like to answer for Evan first?
Yeah, Evan, one of his strengths is that he's a very good networker. He knows everybody. He's friendly with everybody. He's got the forms of communication medium down. Like, if you asked me to send an email, I'd be like, oh, I got it from my Hotmail account. But you know, Evan can do it, and he knows how to sign off, and he's got a little picture of his face, and like, you know,
It's true. Great headshots.
yeah, everybody knows and likes Evan, and that's actually a skill that he has developed, and he's really good at it.
Also, Bill, you just got a big heart, man. You're just an
Yeah, he
empathetic
does.
human being. You're not a cold bastard. Like,
I recognize you now with the beard right there.
Yeah, I know. Right, I start to look like my normal self.
Did you hear my roast joke about you?
No.
Oh, good.
Fucking, I even try as like. Yeah, anyway, I gotta
It's
look watch it again.
So Evan, Nick,
yeah.
what is Phil exceptionally good at?
So Phil's got a strategic mind. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting. It has to do kind of like you were saying. You've got your jokes in a row, even when you're a kid. You know what I mean? And you're not necessarily using them, but they've been structuring you towards what you're doing this whole time. But the other thing that you're very good at, that I've seen mostly through comedy, but in other situations too, where you're just like, this is the situation, I'm leaning into it. You know what I mean? Like if we got stuck doing a bad, stand-up show like a Chinese restaurant at 10 a.m. or something like that, and I'd be like, I want to excuse out of here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do this. You're like, well, we're here. This is it. Let's just do it. You know what I mean? There's a way you can turn off the part of your brain that would be embarrassed, or at least it seems
I
like
have
that.
no
It
shame,
seems
yeah.
like that. Yeah, that shamelessness is a huge asset, and I absorb something.
Yeah, I would also say you're very analytical in the sense that allows you to like sneak up on people by matching their footsteps. You know, like that's the kind of guy that Phil is. That he's
It is a good trick.
he's like analytical from the sense of a predatorial mindset, like in a good way. Like you're a lovely, friendly motherfucker, and I know you like hate to admit that about yourself, that you're actually like a softie yourself, and that you do love people, and that you like to make fucking people happy, and that you like to be supportive to people. But
Secret's out.
Secret's out, bro.
That's
Sorry.
it. Podcast.
there you go. But you're able to look at so many multiple facets of things, and I think that's also one of your hindrances is paralysis by analysis.
I would agree with that, yeah.
Evan, now you give a backhanded compliment to Nick.
Yeah. It's the only kind I've got left.
You're funny, but looks aren't everything.
Ooh,
oh no.
yuck.
Nick is. I mean, Nick's I don't even know where to start. I've got a lot of really great things to say about Nick. but one is that I've heard he's really good in bed.
Yeah, let's get that out there.
This motion over and over again was suggested as part of the feedback that I've received from
Got it.
Because we ask about you.
Yeah. No, I didn't even ask. Honestly, I didn't even ask. But also, he's a fucking mad scientist, man. He's invented shit, multiple different things that he just kind of came out of his own genius of like, I have this idea and I'm going to figure out each component of how to make this fucking happen and come to life. And it's pretty fucking amazing both times, the things that you've actually created out of your own fucking brainchild.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nick, is there somewhere the audience can read about this invention? Is that where you want to point them to, or do you want to?
Not yet. It's
It's tough, man.
It's right. I can't quite put it out.
Tell them about Mother Brain. You can probably tell them about Mother Brain.
Yeah,
right?
the old one was Mother Brain, and this was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. I was trying to grow weed in my apartment, and I couldn't find anything that would keep track of what I thought were very basic functions that a little weed garden should have. It was like $600 for some machine that would like regulate the carbon dioxide levels and stuff like that. It was all industrial stuff, and I was like, God damn it! Yeah. I want something where it's just it's like a surge protector. It just has a couple of outlets on it. And then I can just control when those outlets go on and off. You know what I mean? And it expanded into this big project where I built the lights into it, so I could just the same mechanism would control the lights and everything else. Yeah. I could talk to it on my phone even if I wasn't near it.
Taught yourself to code.
I taught myself to code how to do it, and that's been anybody who wants to get into coding. That's how you do it. You want something like weed. Do you want weed for a lot cheaper? Learn how to code. That'll like show you what coding really is instead of like. I don't know. Coding's a whole other thing in itself, and I'm much newer to that than a lot of things.
Did your consumer solution have a lower price point than $600?
Oh yeah, I mean I could have sold it.
You easily could have sold that for $300, and I think that would have been a fine price for a thing that you had the 4 outlets that you could control and schedule each individual outlet when you wanted them to kick on and off. If they controlled the water pump, or if they controlled the fan, or if they controlled all kinds of other shit. You had the light built into that same fucking mechanism. You had a camera on it so that you could look from your phone. All of this, by the way, was operable from an app that you made for your own fucking phone.
Yeah.
That you could then look at a picture of your plant from a camera that was inside the same box, the same fucking light box that was inside the grow tent. That's fucking sick, dude. Like,
there's like a lot of stuff to it.
Did you have like a mister that would change the humidity?
So I had to be kind of clever about that, but basically you could. So there was a sensor that I had the temperature, the humidity. Those are the main ones. And then I was working on getting the pH, but I never quite got there. And so it could detect the humidity, and so.
And you just plug any machine you want.
Right. So if you had something that released humidity, you could just plug that in and turn it on for a little while. It was actually interesting. An example of how I could be creative.
Because you can plug it into the green outlet or the red outlet or the blue outlet.
Yeah. Like something I figured out, the room that I had it in was pretty cold at the time, but I'd have the lights on, so the little tent itself could actually stay nice and warm. And so when the plant was little, I used the fan itself, because it didn't need a constant flow of air when it's a little tiny guy. I used the fan itself as basically the way to regulate the heat. And I let it stay nice and hot in there, you know what I mean, like 80 degrees, but never up to 90, and not below 75 or something like that. And the plant was so happy about that. And so that was just kind of a neat way that I was like, I didn't even know I was going to use this thing like this, but now I can.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that speaks to something that you're really good at, is you're very good at compiling information.
Really?
Yeah. You get all the information, and then you choose like how you apply it. So like, I've got to grow weed for a plant. That means I have to learn I have to have the information on how to code.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Right.
What does this thing need? Sunlight, soil, water, and code.
Yeah. and you do that with a lot of things. You do that in your comedy. You do that in your work. You're like your Goodwill fucking hunting. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's something I always admire about you.
Today is Monday, the 22nd.
You bet.
Where can people go see you this week to perform?
This coming Wednesday at Chile Brewing Company. on Guadalupe Street in Santa Fe, or online at youtube.com on Wayward Comedy's channel. We'll be live streaming it like we do every single week.
Yeah, we also have April 9th. We're going to be back at Tumbleroot.
And April 1st, we're going to be
that's
we're going to
right.
be doing some sketches opening for Santa Fe Improv that we're collaborating on today, as a matter of fact. And yeah, so that's going to be a fun show. We're just going to do the opening 15, 20 minutes or something like that with some sketches. And then the Faculty Lounge of Santa Fe Improv is going to be putting on a show at Santa Fe Improv Stage on Mercantile Court, I think.
Where are y'all gonna be tonight at 9 p.m.? You don't have to say who you're with, but we like to give local flair, local insight. You guys are funny guys, you're performers, you're well known.
Say what? What was the
Where are you
question?
gonna be? Like, are you gonna be out? At home?
I fucking am so, like, for everything that you said about me being a good networker, I'm such a fucking, like, introvert, you know? I love to just, like, hang out at my house with my dog and cook something or go play disc golf with this fucking guy.
Mm-hmm.
Or, but, I mean, this afternoon we're going to be at...
Desert Dogs.
We're going to be at Desert Dog. Well, no, I mean, first we're going to Draft Station. That's where we're going to sit and talk about our sketches and stuff like that. I like to sit anywhere there's a pool table, so, you know.
Yeah, Draft Station has the pool table area is like a conference room almost. That's not a restaurant anymore. Yeah, is that where you're gonna have your meeting?
Yep.
That's interesting. It sounds better than Iconic or a bustling coffee shop. I mean,
Yeah, something kind of quiet.
it's bustling there, so that's bumping up Iconic. But yeah, tell me. Are you on social media? I'm
No.
so curious. So you're
No,
not. So
I don't have.
don't
any
worry.
of that.
Like, well, yeah. So do you want people to find you in person? That's
Yeah.
the only alternative.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like,
So show up to Chile Line at 8
Yeah.
p.m.
Dumpsters, glory
Cigar,
holes,
Phil.
street corners,
You bet.
he's-
Bridges, you got it.
if you see me with a sign in the median, just say hi.
And the final question is for Nick and Nick alone.
Uh-oh.
If you could change one thing about this podcast, what would it be?
You got a squeaky, you got a squeaky stand there.
I liked that.
I don't know. What would it? Maybe like a little buffet or something would be nice. But you offered coffee. No, I've been having a great time. That's
I do
it. That's the
least
honest
crap
answer.
For comedians, that's my honest answer. So you had a great time. Thank you guys for all coming.
awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
See
so
you
much
guys
for
on
having us.
Wednesday.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
hope people watch the mic. I hope people follow Wayward Comedy on Instagram. Go to the website and stay connected to see premiere stand-up comedy
Mm-hmm.
in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Best in town.
That's right.
The friendliest open mic in New Mexico. Everybody
It
says.
is. I agree. I've now been to 2.